Hi everyone. Ever hit a compile error that just screams undeclared identifier? It's a very common issue that almost every programmer encounters. It can be super frustrating when you're trying to get your code to compile and run smoothly. But don't worry, we're going to break it down today. We'll understand exactly what this error means, why it happens, and most importantly, we'll learn some simple, effective steps to fix it quickly. This error pops up in many programming languages, from C++ to Java, Python, and JavaScript, but the core idea behind it is always the same. So, what exactly is an undeclared identifier? Imagine you're telling a story and you mention someone by name, but you haven't introduced them yet to your listener. Your listener wouldn't know who you mean. In programming, an identifier is simply a name. It's a name you give to something in your code. This could be the name of a variable, like score or username. It could be the name of a function, like calculate total or print report. It could also be the name of a class, an object, or any other named item in your program. When your compiler or interpreter reads your code, it expects to know what each name refers to. It needs to know its type, its purpose, and where it comes from. If the compiler sees a name that it hasn't met or been told about before, that is, it hasn't been declared or defined, it throws an undeclared identifier error. It's essentially saying, hey, I don't know what this word is. You haven't introduced it to me or told me what it represents. There are a few very common reasons why this error appears, and knowing them will help you troubleshoot much faster. 1. Typo or misspelling. This is often the simplest and most frequent cause. You might declare a variable as myVariable once, but then you accidentally type myVariable later in your code. The compiler sees myVariable as a completely new, unknown name that it hasn't seen declared anywhere. It doesn't know it's a simple mistake. The fix: always double-check your spelling meticulously. Be very careful with every single character in your identifiers. Consistency in naming is absolutely crucial. 2. Not declared or defined. This means you used a variable name, a function name, or a class name, but you never actually told the compiler that it exists. For a variable, you didn't give it a type or assign it a value first. For a function, you used its name without defining it or at least providing a prototype. The fix: always declare your variables before you use them. For example, in C++ or Java, you'd write and count equals 0 before you try to use count in a calculation. Make sure your functions are either fully defined or have a prototype declaration before they are called in your program. 3. Scope issues. Variables and other identifiers have a scope. This refers to the specific part of your code where they are visible and usable. A variable declared inside a specific function or block of code is usually only known and accessible within that function or block. If you try to use it outside that defined area, the compiler will see it as undeclared because it's out of its visibility range. The fix: understand where your variables are visible. If you need an identifier to be accessible in multiple parts of your program, declare it in a wider scope, e.g., globally or as a member of a class, or pass it as an argument to functions that need to use it. 4. Missing header files or imports. Many programming languages rely heavily on libraries or modules. These libraries contain the definitions for common functions, classes, or data types that you might want to use. You need to explicitly tell your compiler or interpreter to include or import these libraries. For example, in C, if you want to use the printf function to print output, you need to include stio.h. In Java, if you want to use an ArrayList data structure, you need import java.util.ArrayList. If you forget these essential include or import statements, the compiler won't know what printf or ArrayList means, resulting in an undeclared identifier error. The fix: add all the necessary include or import statements at the very top of your file, as required by your language and the libraries you're using. 5. Case sensitivity. Most programming languages are case sensitive. This means they treat uppercase and lowercase letters differently. For instance, myVariable is considered a completely different identifier from myVariable, and both are different from myVariable. If you declare myVariable but then try to use myVariable later, the compiler will see myVariable as a brand new, undeclared identifier because it doesn't match the casing of the one you declared. The fix: be absolutely consistent with your capitalization. Use the exact same casing every single time you refer to an identifier throughout your code. When you encounter this error, always look at the line number the compiler provides in its error message. It usually points directly to the unknown identifier. Read the error message carefully, it's there to help you. Don't just randomly change things. Instead, systematically think about each of these common causes we've discussed. Is it a simple typo? Is it missing a declaration? Is it a scope problem? Did I forget an essential import statement? That's a comprehensive look at the undeclared identifier error. It's a fundamental concept in programming, and understanding these points will allow you to diagnose and fix it much, much faster. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you found this explanation helpful and clear, please give it a thumbs up. It really supports us and helps other programmers find these useful tips. And don't forget to subscribe for more programming tutorials, practical tips, and debugging guides. We'll see you in the next one.